Brett Screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett Screwed Brett.
Hold 2! Armbar!
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Swords rule. Yeah, they do.
Hold 3. The moss-covered, 3-handle family Gradunzel.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? This is the RCWR Show Weekend Report coming at you live right now on blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR Show and over at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. How's everybody going? Hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. On September 29th, 2012, just one more day for the month of September, and then we are officially entering the winter zone, at least over here on the East Coast. We got a lot of great content that we're going to be covering on today's episode. We're going to get you guys caught up on the very latest, in case you might have missed it, get you caught up on the fallout from this past week's WWE Raw, TNA Impact Wrestling, SmackDown from this past Friday night, which is definitely a very solid episode. We'll also get you caught up on the very latest in wrestling news, entertainment. We got those reviews for you guys this weekend for Green Day's new album, Uno, No Doubt's new album, Push and Shove, and we're actually going to be premiering a new song from the upcoming album, King Animal, from my favorite rock band probably of all time, Soundargen. You definitely are going to appreciate that song. Definitely had heard it before we went on the air. Definitely sounds pretty badass. We're going to be covering all this. It's going to be a jam-packed episode. Definitely you won't be disappointed. We got the chat room. It's open right now. Feel free to jump on in there. We also have the Twitter. You know you can interact with us during the course of today's episode. Hit us up on Twitter at InfinityOneProd. You can also interact with us on Facebook at InfinityOne Productions. So let's go on ahead and let's jump right into it. We got a lot of ground that we got to cover. In case you have missed WWE Raw from this past Monday night, you definitely have missed a very solid episode, as we are still just about 3 weeks shy now from the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that's going to be coming our way live on pay-per-view October 28th, and it is just really starting to shape up to be a very solid pay-per-view so far, as not that many matches have been announced yet. We do know of one, but we do not know the full card just yet. But the build towards that pay-per-view is beginning to become very strong, folks, as we had saw one of many matches on Raw. Of course, we got to talk about that Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston. Definitely was a very solid opener to Raw this past week. Definitely love seeing these two guys get it on. I mean, just to see Kofi Kingston take it to that next level. As I said this past Tuesday night on the Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show, I definitely need to see this type of energy, this type of enthusiasm, this type of passion from Kofi Kingston, as many will probably say that he could possibly never become a WWE or a World Heavyweight Champion. That argument may very well be true, but I would definitely like to believe that if he continues to go at the rate that he had with that match against Dolph Ziggler, he would definitely, no doubt, be at least a headliner for one of those belts, I feel. But definitely it was a very great match between these two guys. We also saw the primetime players, Derek Young, Titus O'Neil. They had defeated the team of Zack Ryder and Santonio Marella. We saw Ryback in action as he had defeated the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. And definitely, as I said this past Tuesday night, I was just amazed at the clean finish that had happened with The Miz right here, as it just really seems like Miz has just, for whatever type of momentum that he might have built since returning, it just seems like it's starting to sink right about now. Not really sure what to make of these latest developments that's been happening with The Miz, but nonetheless, we saw Ryback take out Miz, and this would not be the only case this week where Miz would actually have a very bad segment. We definitely want to let you guys know what had happened on SmackDown when we cover that later on. We also saw Wade Barrett in action as he had defeated Tyson Kidd. We had Sheamus teaming up with Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara to defeat the team of Alberto Del Rio, David Otunga, Ricardo Rodriguez. Of course, we had some nice, good Divas action. It was actually very decent this week on Raw as we saw Eve team up with Beth Phoenix to defeat Alicia Fox and Layla. As post-match right here is where it got very interesting as we saw the return of Caitlyn, who was on a crutch wearing a knee brace, and she would say to Eve that she is aware of possibly who it was that had attacked her at the Night of Champions pay-per-view, which ended up having Caitlyn be taken out of the title picture, and instead Eve went in her place. Now, we saw a very intense moment right here as we were kind of under the impression here that Eve was about to be revealed to be the corporate who attacked Caitlyn, but Caitlyn would reveal that it was someone with blonde hair, thus taking Eve, getting her basically in the clear. She's off the hook, and we're led to believe that possibly Beth Phoenix is the one that had attacked Caitlyn, as immediately after that we saw Eve. She just quickly attacked Beth Phoenix, and that was pretty much the end of that. Now, of course, we would actually end up seeing Eve send out a tout over the week saying that Beth Phoenix possible actions against Caitlyn is going to come with very serious consequences that she promised, and those consequences, they would go into effect on SmackDown. Of course, we also saw Brodus Clay taking on Tensai, and this match right here had actually ended in a no contest just when the match was starting to get good, as we saw the return of the Big Show, who was on a leave for a couple of weeks there as he just wanted to take a little bit of time off, recharge his batteries for a bit. We see him come down to the ring, and he just gives a WMD to Brodus Clay. He follows up that WMD with another one to Tensai, just leaves both of these guys laying out, not even uttering a word as he just delivers those punches, and he just goes back to the backstage area. That's pretty much it for Big Show. Of course, one of the many highlights, especially if you were a CM Punk fan, Monday Night Raw was definitely your night to be a CM Punk fan, because CM Punk just dominated throughout the night. He dominated at the beginning of the show as he had that awesome segment between AJ Lee, Paul Heyman. They all were just into that whole, what I thought was just a phenomenal segment, as all those guys just walked out of that ring having that extra bit of momentum going in their favor for the rest of the night. As we saw CM Punk, Paul Heyman, they're talking about the bad referee named Maddox that had made a very poor call from the week prior, which had resulted in the team of John Cena and Sheamus picking up a win over CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio, when it was very clear that CM Punk had put up his leg on the ropes in time, but young referee Maddox did not see this. Maddox was called to the ring by Paul Heyman as he felt the WWE champion needed to hear an apology and get the referee's resignation. Well, that would not be the case, as Maddox would apologize, but he would say to Heyman and the WWE champion that he doesn't feel that he should resign as a WWE official. And it was just really an intense moment right here, as soon AJ Lee would come out, try to get control of the show. CM Punk just knowing how to push all those right buttons as he just plays off of that proposal that AJ Lee had gave to him a couple of months back, 2 months ago I believe it was, where CM Punk shot her down, and he's just feeling as though this is the reason why AJ has just been coming at him with the new title of Raw General Manager, just a way of getting back at him for turning her down. And definitely was a very solid moment right here, as later on in the night, once again, we would get treated to CM Punk having an exchange of words, this time with the hardcore legend Mick Foley. And this was definitely a very, very good segment right here. I must admit, I was definitely a bit surprised, because when I had first saw Mick Foley come out, I'm under the impression that possibly Mick Foley was going to get attacked by the WWE champion right then and there. I'm saying, okay, this definitely is not really needed. We don't really need Mick Foley for this, but knowing the type of person Mick Foley is, on that right night, and you just have him go out there and cut a promo, Mick Foley definitely did not disappoint, as he would recollect how the WWE champion actually used to stand for something, how he actually used to be that voice of the voiceless, how he actually used to be that type of leader that would go out there and would try to speak against whatever was wrong in the company. And Foley just talking about how much he had missed that CM Punk. And CM Punk, he comes out, and we just see these two greats. They just have a great exchange of words, as CM Punk, pretty much the only thing he is infatuated with now is how many days he's been the WWE champion. Mick Foley, he points out to Punk that, you know what, that number of days that you've been champion, that really does not mean anything. You have not been to that pivotal point in your career. You haven't quite reached that mountaintop just yet. And what better way to really solidify your legacy in the WWE and really prove to the WWE fans just how top of a guy you are. Basically prove that you're the real deal by having a Hell in a Cell match with John Cena. Now, of course, John Cena, he had freshly came off of elbow surgery. A lot of speculation was put out there about, hey, this guy's probably going to be out for at least 4 months. On the contrary, it looks like John Cena possibly might be out for just 3, maybe 4 weeks. He should be back in time for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. But nonetheless, we're dealing with Foley, CM Punk right here, right now, and Mick Foley just pushing all those right buttons, saying all those right things, really selling that Hell in a Cell match, pointing out how Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Triple H himself have been through that match, and it definitely has shedded years off of the careers of all of them, well-known fact, and just pointing out that CM Punk, he can't really claim to be that WWE champion unless he goes to that pay-per-view and he defends that title and he comes out victorious. Then, maybe then, he will have won fans over as well as earn the long-awaited respect that he feels he deserves. Now, of course, we see CM Punk. He does not give Mick Foley an answer to whether or not he will take on John Cena right then and there. But later on in the night, we would see CM Punk, John Cena, they cross paths in the ring, and pretty much the challenge is out there whether or not Punk will accept the challenge to face John Cena once again at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. CM Punk, he shoots down Cena. He's not having it. He's not even really into this match, as he feels that he's just going to do all kinds of physically disturbing things to the C-Nation leader that basically if the match were to happen, he would beat Cena up so bad Cena would be out for months just rehabbing his injury. He doesn't want to have a piece of John Cena. Tries to offer the C-Nation leader the chance to leave his ring and just forget about this whole match. Turns his back, definitely the biggest mistake you can do right here, turns his back on John Cena, expecting him to be gone after the count of 5. Not the case, as John Cena greets the WWE champion with a steel pipe to the ab area, sends him just running off to the backstage area. And how about those last few precious seconds, folks, where we had saw CM Punk cross paths with Mick Foley, and he kind of turns back around, goes back to Mick Foley, kicks him in the stomach, walks away. It looks like he's not even done here. It looks like he's getting ready to say some more stuff. But then we just have that stare down between Punk and Ryback, of all the people to make CM Punk just stand there and just look like a scared little rabbit. We just have Ryback just looking at him. Great way to close out what was a very solid episode of Raw, as it definitely had a lot of people talking. I was just amazed at how many people had sat up, and they were just on the Twitter, they were just on Google, they were everywhere, and they were talking about, okay, is Ryback going to be the next WWE champion? What's going on right here? What do we make of this? What do we make of what all just happened right here? What is it that we're seeing? And as we had said on our Tuesday night edition, you just had to kind of wait and see exactly what was going on right here. Now, I know when all this had initially went down on Monday, I'm paying attention to all this, and I'm saying to myself, I'm sure there's a very legitimate reason for all this. And, of course, as we would later find out, Ryback CM Punk is somewhat of a back burner idea that was presented to us just in case possibly John Cena might not be able to compete at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that CM Punk could possibly take on Ryback at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, as really what they were trying to sell to us, the viewers, is, okay, this match could possibly happen down the road. Could it happen as early as Hell in a Cell? Maybe, but WWE is hoping that maybe somewhere down the road that type of match could happen. But I just loved how so many people had panicked and they were just trashing it, and I definitely admit I feel that Ryback is not ready. I'm not going to really go into that much length of a detail about it because I said all I needed to say with regards to Ryback, and I definitely welcome you guys to go check out the Tuesday Night Wrestling Report edition from this week, as I really broke it down as far as, is Ryback ready for that main event picture? Is he ready for that title shot picture? Definitely is a no in my book, but you'll definitely love what I had to say with regards to the reason why I feel that he's not ready. And it wasn't exactly a bashing type of deal. It was just brutally honest analysis of Ryback thus far. Of course, we can't talk about WWE without mentioning the latest development that has been happening behind the scenes. Now, for those of you that still may not be aware, as we did cover it earlier this week, Beth Phoenix is said to be tying up all contractual obligations, live appearances with the WWE, as she should be leaving the company just before the end of October. And we know a lot of wrestling fans, yours truly over here, definitely am looking at this as a significant loss for the WWE, as they're losing a really great diva, in my opinion, one of the best that we've seen in recent years. And it's just one of these type of scenarios where, unfortunately, you could probably just really look back on the career of Beth Phoenix and kind of say to yourself, well, you know what, she's been kind of in limbo within several months. It just seems like ever since she was coming so close to becoming the longest reigning Divas champion in history, and then all of a sudden she just dropped the strap to one of the Bella Twins on an episode of Raw for just really no apparent other reason other than to try to please the Bella Twins, get them to possibly re-sign a new contract. But in the end, they didn't re-sign. It's like, okay, wasted move for nothing. You would think that maybe the attention would kind of go back on Beth Phoenix, but it didn't. And so we have Beth Phoenix, who I'm not going to try to say I know what she's thinking, but as a person that is friends with wrestlers, and I'm friends with more than one wrestler, you know, my pretend sister is definitely one of them at the top of the list. You know, I can definitely say to you that I would like to honestly believe that Beth Phoenix probably did not really appreciate how she had been utilized within recent months, and it just got to the point where, okay, why am I continuing to be going all over the place doing these things and I'm not really getting my fair shake? And that's probably what she's feeling right now, and who could blame her for sitting up and saying, you know what, I want to just go on ahead, I want to leave the company. Now, whether or not she's definitely going to be going in that acting full-time, I really don't know that. I don't even want to speculate on that, and that's the other thing. I don't like speculating. I like dealing with the facts. And one fact that definitely stands out in my mind is when she does leave the WWE, 9 times out of 10, she's probably just going to want to kick back. She's probably just going to chill, recharge her batteries for a bit, spend time with her family, her loved ones, and just consider her options. Now, it's a no-brainer. She would be a really great pickup for whichever respective wrestling promotion decides they want to do business with her. And the talk is already put out there, as always. Oh, are they TNA bound? Are they Ring of Honor bound? You know, where are they going to go? You know, honestly, and we talked about this briefly, but I can't stress that enough. TNA, they would be a good fit, but with their current negotiations that they have going on right here, the way that they're doing these little contracts, you know, they're paying these wrestlers by TV appearance, by pay-per-view appearance, and now they're trying to set it up so that these wrestlers, they can't go and appear on a promotion's DVD. They have to get permission first from TNA. So TNA, they've really been coming down hard on this, which I think is kind of silly because these wrestlers, that's how they're able to make all this extra money on the side and still somewhat feel contractually obligated to do work with TNA because they create such a creative platform there. Not to mention everything that we've been hearing about Bruce Pritchard, and we definitely will cover that a bit more when we talk about TNA in a little bit, but that combined with what Bruce Pritchard has been doing over in TNA, as unfortunately, you know, and again, we don't like speculating, but we can't help but talk to you, let you guys know what it is that we've been able to gather up on Bruce Pritchard, which is it's been said that he does not think too fondly of the Knockouts division, and that explains why we've been seeing less and less matches, shorter matches, why they are only highlighting key knockouts. So you're kind of looking at that and you're just thinking about how it was before Bruce Pritchard came into the scene. You can definitely make an educated guess right here and say, you know what, the knockout division definitely was better before Bruce Pritchard came into play. If you've been watching TNA that long, you can definitely notice the difference right here. Is there some type of argument that could possibly be made? Very well could be. Who knows? But just thinking about what's happening with TNA right now, I definitely just do not see that as a good fit for Beth Phoenix. I would actually say Ring of Honor Wrestling, or she just does her thing in the indie circuit. Maybe go holler at New Japan. But I don't see TNA being a good fit for her right now. Will they give her that creative freedom that she would need? No doubt about it. She would probably get that well-deserved attention, but as we've seen from time to time, when a former WWE diva has gone over to TNA, they are the shit for like 2, 3, maybe 4 months. Then all of a sudden, they're old news. So, this is a case right here where the next move just needs to be planned perfectly, but in the meantime, just kick back, recharge batteries, just weigh all the options. That would honestly be the most sincere advice I would give to a Beth Phoenix. Now, on top of that, folks, we also had got breaking news yesterday that Kelly Kelly was released from WWE. Now, as we all know, Kelly Kelly, she really hasn't been utilized in WWE within recent months. Now, remember, she had took a leave of absence earlier in the year. She was gone for a few months. She was dipping into other endeavors, trying to look into modeling and all types of other stuff. And then when it came time for her to come back, WWE Creative's problem was, okay, how can we bring her back? What's the next major angle we could try to have her dive into? But we really didn't see anything. And then from there, we just saw Kelly Kelly pop up once in a blue moon, have a match, and then pretty much we never really see her again. Now, while all this was going on, folks, WWE was trying to get Kelly Kelly to sign a longer deal, but Kelly Kelly, she would not resign. And so we saw a scenario right here where Kelly Kelly, she just is more into these other endeavors that she's looking into, that she's trying to start up, not really too keen on the WWE. And then finally just got to that point where WWE, Kelly Kelly, they just decided to part ways. And, I can say, honestly, I've never really been a fan of Kelly Kelly. Of all the divas that I've seen over the years, I just always personally felt that, quite honestly, she really wasn't that attractive. I just thought she was just extremely too skinny. I thought she needed to have a burger or something. I just never really was into her like that. I honestly didn't care. She didn't have any personality to me. She could barely wrestle worth a damn. Now, has she improved? Yeah, a little bit. If you were to ask me to pick who's better between Tessmacher and Kelly Kelly, I would definitely go with Tessmacher, hands down. Just really, for me personally, I don't really see this as a significant loss for the WWE. And the people that are sitting up saying who's going to be the next top diva now that Kelly Kelly's gone, how do you replace a top diva like Kelly Kelly? Let me just get this argument out the way right here. I've never considered Kelly Kelly as the top diva. And for you all that actually buy that headline, shame on you guys, because this is what you're being fed. This is what is being programmed into your head to basically say. This is WWE's way of trying to influence you to feel as though this person is significantly all that and a bag of chips and a drink. And that's not even really the case. You want to ask me who I think is the top diva in the WWE, like currently? I would have to say it's a toss-up between Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres. I would actually go in one of those two directions. I would not go with a Kelly Kelly. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. And I know that's probably going to upset some WWE fans. I know we have some followers that are really into Kelly Kelly. They're just infatuated with her. They be tweeting all kinds of stuff to her every minute, all day. She probably is on the wall of a lot of 13, 14-year-old boys that have a hard time sleeping at night. We get that. But let's just really get that reality check out there. Kelly Kelly is not the top diva in the WWE, okay? She's just not. So let's just get that out the way. So now that we have that out the picture, you know, you want to talk about, well, who's the next top WWE diva? Honestly, with Beth Phoenix rolling out, the top diva, surprisingly, it would be Eve. Now, we've been hearing rumblings that WWE is strongly considering revamping the Divas division. If that is really true, I can't stress it enough. We said it last week. I definitely can't stress it enough, and I just want to say this, and then we'll move on. But I definitely wanted to give this special spotlight to the Divas here, because we briefly had touched it Tuesday night, and we did stress that we wanted to talk about it in more detail on today's show. So that's why we're talking about it more in depth now. But I can't stress it enough. WWE, if they know the right thing here, if they're smart, they take these examples of what has happened with WWE divas such as Maurice, Michelle McCool, the Bella Twins, and now we go with Kelly Kelly. They should take all of these signs right here, because these are prime examples of women that really did not give a hoot about wrestling, but then decided, why not? It can't be that bad. And then basically, you can basically call it for what it's worth. They basically did what they needed to do in WWE, get their stock up, and then roll the hell out. You know, now you guys are probably saying, well, how's Beth Phoenix different from the other women that you mentioned? The difference here is that Beth Phoenix is first and foremost, she's a wrestling fan. Her wrestling experience and all that, it goes definitely years back prior to these girls that just decided, one day, I think I might want to try wrestling. Whereas Beth Phoenix, she's always been a wrestling fan. She has been practicing the craft for a number of years. So you look at all this that's going on right here, and I can't stress it enough, WWE, leave the models alone. I get that you want beauty, but you know what? You really want to go for those women that strongly have that passion and desire to be in the WWE and want to perform. That should be the real point right here, and I can't stress it enough. If you continue to do this type of recruitment with swimsuit models, cheerleaders, Playboy cover girls that don't know diddly squat about wrestling, you're just wasting your time, you're wasting the money, you're wasting the resources of hyping them up only to leave you a few years later. Christy Hemme, same thing. I mean, we got a long list of divas that has just not really been a wrestler first before coming into the WWE and then just rolling out on the company. and yeah, they should be frustrated by everything that's been happening right now. It should definitely be a wake-up call for them already. Hopefully you guys appreciated that in-depth look. I didn't want to spend really too much time on it, but I definitely felt it was something that definitely needed to be covered. So on that note, let's go on ahead and let's talk about everything else that had happened. Now, WWE Raw this past Monday, despite it being a very solid episode, they got crushed big time in the ratings. And it was because of that Green Bay Packers Seahawks game. They took a lot of viewers from WWE. You might as well call it for what it's worth. That Monday Night Football game, definitely when you break it down as far as the age demographics, those key age ranges most likely would be tuning into an episode of WWE Raw or maybe flipping between channels. But I would go with the first one. They lost a lot of their viewers, as I believe Monday Night Football had picked up 6-point-something million viewers, while WWE Raw from this past Monday night, it unfortunately only did 3.79 million viewers. And unfortunately, the latest ratings that had came in, which had Raw for this week, ended up being a 2.72, had it tied the May 28th episode of Raw for the lowest of the year episode. Now remember, that May 28th episode of Raw, it was going up against a lot of stuff at that time. It was going up against the NBA playoffs and some other stuff that was happening. So, you're looking at this and you're kind of saying to yourself, ouch. And just in case you're a little bit curious how WWE Raw has been doing all this month, here's the takeaway for this month. Here's the ratings breakdown. September 3rd, they did a 2.83 rating with 4.203 million viewers. Now, if you recall, that was the episode with CM Punk, Paul Heyman. That's where their alliance had begun. September 10th, they scored a 2.83 rating with 4.136 million viewers. Remember, that was the episode where, unfortunately, Jerry Lawler had suffered a heart attack live on the air. September 17th, they scored a 2.9 rating with 4.05 million viewers. That was the Post-Night of Champions episode. And, of course, from this past Monday night, they had scored a 2.72 rating with 3.79 million viewers. So you're looking at that, you're kind of like, ouch. And that was surprisingly maybe the best episode of Raw thus far for the entire month. So, you're looking at that, and, I know WWE, they're probably kicking back. They're probably kicking themselves in the ass right now. But, this type of thing, it happens. There's going to be some Monday nights, unfortunately, where they may kind of get their ass handed to them in the ratings by ESPN's Monday Night Football. But in either case, I would still say that, hey, you know what? It beats getting a rating of a 2.5 something. I would take this and I would just run with it, quite honestly. So definitely it's been a decent month for WWE Raw. Let's get you guys caught up on everything that you might have missed on TNA Impact from this past Thursday night, as, of course, it was the Hulk Hogan visiting the Aces and Eights. And I know some of you were probably thinking to yourselves, I know I was thinking it when I was checking out Impact Wrestling this past Thursday night. I'm saying to myself, just how in the blue hell is Hulk Hogan actually going to be able to visit Aces and Eights? What is going to happen here? Are they going to send him a taxi cab? Are they going to give him an address to maybe meet him in a warehouse or something? Just how exactly is he going to end up going to their home base? Well, that question would be answered as we had saw Hulk Hogan along with the Icon Sting. That's right, Sting returned, and it hadn't been but almost a month and a half since we had saw the Icon, and he said to the Hulkster that he was not going to be visiting Aces and Eights by himself, that Stinger was going to be tagging along with him. Well, we had saw Hogan and Sting in a backstage segment. They're talking, trying to make sure that they're on the same page and figuring out just how exactly they're going to try to handle those damn Aces and Eights. When we see this nice little cute, petite, blonde lady, she shows up. She tells Hulk Hogan that Bruce Pritchard had some type of documents that needed to be signed. And as Hulk Hogan is signing these documents, we see her take a can of mace, and she's just going into the eyes of both of these guys. And from there, Aces and Eights, they come out, they put a blindfold over them and little black bags over their heads, throw them in the back of a van, they just drive off. Well, later on, we see them once they've arrived at the unknown location. We see them tied to chairs. They're kind of gagged for a little bit there, it looks like. But then we see the back of this guy's head, and it's revealed that he's the head honcho. He's the big boss for Aces and Eights, and it's not the Bane-like guy, as we've been dubbing him over here, because he just has that wicked Bane-like type of voice from the Dark Knight Rises movies. No, it's not him. It's some other guy. And it was one of those moments here where if you listened to the way that this guy was talking to Hulk Hogan, you definitely walked away from this and you said to yourself, okay, you know what? This sounds like Eric Bischoff. And I was just kind of saying to myself, man, they let this guy talk for too long. The whole vocabulary style, it was just, it's Eric Bischoff. Damn. But there's always that possibility that we could be wrong here. But I must admit, I've been an Eric Bischoff fan for a lot of years. And there's just something about his character that I love, especially his on-screen character. And I just have always been able to pay attention to his use of vocabulary. And as I'm paying attention to this mystery guy talking to the Hulkster and the Stinger, I'm saying to myself, I've heard this vocabulary somewhere before. Let me just think about this for a second. And I just started picturing what all this mystery man was saying, just minus the distorted voice. And I'm just saying to myself, yeah, definitely, without a doubt, it is Eric Bischoff. Now, that couldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but just how exactly are they really going to be able to explain Eric Bischoff associated with basically a biker gang? That's a whole other topic for another time. We'll definitely bring that up at a later point, but we're getting sidetracked. Let's get to what had happened with this exchange of words that was spoken right here. We saw this mystery man say to the Hulkster and Sting that he wants for Hogan to pick two of his best men on the TNA roster to have them go up against two of Aces and Eights' best. And here's what's at stake. If Aces and Eights win, they get full access to the Impact Arena. Now, if they lose, then they go bye-bye. Hogan never has to deal with Aces and Eights again. And this just sounds like money for Hulk Hogan. He's like, yes, I'm on this. I'm in. Count me and Sting in. We'll do it. We'll take you guys on. Doesn't matter. But the mystery guy, he tells Hogan, you're not listening. Stop for a second. And this was the main thing that the mystery guy kept saying. Every single time he was trying to correct Hogan on something, he kept bringing up the fact of how he knows Hogan, how he knows how he is with the politics, all of that. And you're kind of saying to yourself, okay, this guy is really coming off like he knows Hogan intimately on a professional level. I don't mean intimately like, not that kind of intimate, but you know exactly what I mean. And I'm picking this up. I'm saying, okay, this is obviously somebody that Hogan has had dealings with for a good number of years to know how his mind works. And eventually, after the mystery guy lets him know a few times, Hogan, this isn't about you. this is about you picking two of your best guys to take on two of Aces and Eights. Hogan finally agrees, and he's trying to have Joseph Park be released. Mystery guy, he says, no, I need to keep him for collateral. He will be released at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view when we know for a fact we have our match. So that's it. The stage has been set. And, of course, we would see Aces and Eights later on. They would drop the two wrestlers off in the Impact Arena grounds. Looked like they dropped them off in the parking lot, basically telling them, hey, remember the deal. See you guys at Bound for Glory. That's pretty much it. And so here we have the Hulkster Sting. They're just looking at each other here, and, you know, you're kind of saying to yourself, man, this has been a very interesting development right here. Now, some people would argue, once again, that, okay, we got another week here where there was just too much Hulk Hogan. And I can definitely agree with that point, but I must admit, it was more executed properly than last week's Impact Wrestling. If you just compare the two, you know, if you don't have it on your DVR anymore, look it up on YouTube. You compare last week's Impact Wrestling, which was the Open Fight Night edition, you compare that to what we saw this past Thursday night, it could very well have been the same amount of Hogan segments, but it just kind of felt more natural. It didn't feel too much forced, but I will add this. I could have done without a few segments from the Hulkster. Like, quite honestly, I'm still trying to figure out, okay, how is Hogan going to end up on the Aces and Eights turf, clubhouse, treehouse? I don't give a flying hell what the hell they're calling it. I'm just going to say their home base, okay? How do you have Hogan get to that point? And quite honestly, I don't feel the show should have opened up with Hogan being in the middle of the ring and he's talking. I don't really think none of that should have happened. I think that could have been one segment that just could have been dropped, and it could have just opened up with a wrestling match. I don't think we should have started seeing Hogan, Sting, until a backstage segment. And the backstage segment where the woman sprayed them in the eyes, that would have been it right there. That could have been the first time that we see Hogan and the Sting. They get kidnapped. Then the next time we see them, it's the negotiations. Okay, so that's your second segment right there. Then we could have seen them one more time, which was at the very end where they got dropped off. So basically, we only see them 3 times. Now, I'm thinking back into my head right now, and if I were a betting man, I believe we saw them 6, possibly 7 times. Definitely way too many Hogan segments. Precious time that could have been used to try to squeeze in another match, I feel, as it was still a very solid episode. As, of course, let's talk about those matches that we saw for Impact this past Thursday night. We saw Daniels and Kurt Angle and Chavo Guerrero get it on in a triple threat match. Love the fact that this had opened up the Impact episode edition of the night. It was just a straight-up wrestling match. I was digging that. I love that. I love it when a show actually opens up with a wrestling match. We saw Daniels win in that first contest. Later on, we saw Tara get a victory over ODB as it was to determine the number 1 contender spot to face the Knockouts champion, Miss Tessmacher, at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. And, of course, the TNA Television Championship was decided as during the course of eliminations we saw Hulk Hogan, double duty right here, eliminating 2 guys to try to figure out who would be the final 2 to actually wrestle for this championship. Now, the guys would actually be Garrett Bischoff. He'd get eliminated. As Hogan would point out, he's just not ready. He's too young. We saw Magnus get eliminated just for the hell of it. So the 2 guys that actually ended up wrestling for that title was Samoa Joe and Mr. Anderson. Samoa Joe had became the new television champion. Great moment right here. But let's just backtrack a minute. And I kind of had to do a freeze frame because I actually ended up watching this match for a second time. Did anybody notice that Samoa Joe did not actually have the television title? If you go back and you look at it a little bit more, that was actually the TNA World Heavyweight Championship from a couple of years back. So I'm not really sure what's going on right there. Maybe they're waiting for Devon to send the title back. I don't really know. I'm definitely going to be paying a little bit more attention to how that belt is going to be looking now that it's back on the TNA television there. Of course, we saw the TNA gut check contestant, Evan Markinopoulos. His fate was decided, and unfortunately, he was not offered a TNA contract as we had Taz vote yes. Bruce Pritchard, he voted no. Al Snow, the final vote, he voted no, and his reason, basically, Evan, just too young. Definitely is one of those WTF moments right here, and I had said a lot more about how I felt TNA, they dropped the ball with Evan. If you didn't check out Impact Showdown Radio from this past Thursday night, highly recommend that you go check it out. I gave Evan Markinopoulos his props, as I definitely felt he should have been given a contract, and I offered the reasons why. And, of course, I also had a special shout-out for those of you that remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as just all through the night of Impact Wrestling, we saw Mike Tenay hyping up the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show that was going to be popping up on Nickelodeon. I definitely had a very special message for you Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans, especially you old school guys. You definitely want to check that episode out of Impact Showdown Radio. Definitely a great moment right there. You know, of course, we had also saw in the main event of Impact Wrestling, Jeff Hardy, Austin Aries, they defeated the team of Robert Roode, Bully Ray. It looks like we're now starting to see that hot streak come out from Austin Aries. You know, one thing that I noticed about this, and it was like a light bulb that just went off in my head, and I said to myself, this is actually the first match that we've seen of Austin Aries. But then I said, wait a minute, no, not the first match. Wouldn't this make it be the second match? And I said, yeah, this is the second match. This is the second match that we've seen of Austin Aries now where he's actually wrestling for once. It just seems like he was not wrestling on Impact Wrestling for at least a good month, maybe a month and a half. It seemed like ever since he had won the heavyweight title from beating Robert Roode for a second straight time, seemed like he just wasn't really doing anything on Impact. Now, we saw what he did at the last pay-per-view where he took on a random member of Aces and Eights, but just think about how many wrestling matches that he had on Impact after winning the title. He didn't have any, so it was definitely nice to see that mold finally be broken and we see him competing again. Definitely a great little moment right there, especially if you're an Austin Aries fan. Bound for Glory pay-per-view, though, it's really starting to shape up very nicely. You can't really go wrong. We got so far the TNA Tag Team titles. There's going to be on the line as it's going to be a triple threat match. Daniel Kazarian will be defending against Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Chavo Guerrero, Super Max Hernandez. TNA Knockouts title will be on the line. Tara will be taking on the champion, Ms. Tessmacher. Street Fight, James Storm is going to be taking on Robert Roode with King Mo Lao, or as I like to call him, King Mojo Jojo, as the special enforcer. And, of course, for that TNA World Heavyweight Championship match, we got Austin Aries defending it against the Enigma One, Jeff Hardy. And, of course, this is all coming off of a weekend where we will see the Icon Sting be the first inductee into the TNA Hall of Fame. Definitely going to be a very solid pay-per-view that's going to be coming up Sunday, October 14th. Still kind of feels like it's a long ways away. I am ready for a pay-per-view right now. I'm ready to get this covered already. Just seems like we haven't done an RCWR post show in a good minute here. All right, so that's going to do it for that, folks. We're going to go on ahead. We're going to take a brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, we're going to jump into what you might have missed on SmackDown, as it was definitely a very solid installment. And we're just going to run that down in a nutshell, and then we're going to cover the very latest in entertainment news. And as I said at the top of the show, we got a really cool review for Green Day's new album, Uno, No Doubt's new album, Push and Shove, and we're going to be premiering it right here today on the RCWR Show Weekend Report, Soundargen's new single from their upcoming King Animal album, Been a Long Time. That's the name of the song. I'm still trying to remember. I heard it a few times, but it's kind of tricky. I'll know the proper name of it when we come back, because I got it loaded up and it's ready to go. And I also got a really cool review for a wrestling game that I actually came across by accident. Now, this game has actually been out 2 years, but it was still something really cool to come across. And I actually came across this game in frustration. That's a little cliffhanger for you right there. We'll also come right back. In case you don't know, we got a really cool contest that's going on. We're going to give you an opportunity to win a copy of WWE 13 for your respected platform. So we'll definitely give you all the information that you'll need with regards to that. It's really something that you'll want to tell your friends about. Anybody that plays wrestling video games, especially if, you're not really trying to sit up and put $60 out there for a new video game, then, you kind of definitely want to spread the good word about this. So we're going to go on ahead. We're going to take a very brief commercial break. We'll come right back. We'll jump all into everything here. Still plenty of showtime left. We'll be coming right back, folks. Do hang tight.
Tired of those wrestling websites that give you redirects, spyware, weird pop-ups? How about those misleading headlines? Instead of hitting the keyboard in frustration, why not visit InfinityOneProductions.com? Infinity One is the source for wrestling-related news and so much more without all the hassle. Visit InfinityOneProductions.com. Your keyboard will thank you.
Hey guys, Lee Sanders here with the RCWR Show, and I'd like to take this time out to tell you about one or two quick apps that I think you should check out when you get a free moment. First app I'd like to recommend to you is the app from Stitcher. Now, Stitcher allows you to be able to play all our episodes of the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown on your portable devices, such as an Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, you name it, it'll be able to play it. So definitely highly recommend that you check that out. It's available for free in the App Store. Stitcher, new and smart way to play radio. Also, another cool app that I'd like to recommend to you all is a new app that came out not too long ago from Apple. That's right, Apple has recently come out with a free podcast app. Now, this app is really cool, folks, because after we are done doing our shows, all you have to do is just subscribe to our episodes. And you can do this by downloading this new free podcast app. All you have to do, visit the App Store on your iPhone or iPad and just search podcast. Once the app is downloaded, you can then type in the name of our shows, the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown, and you'll be able to subscribe. It's that easy. So you have two cool free apps that you can check out and take all our episodes with you on the go. So get to it already.
All right, and we're back. You're listening to the RCWR Show Weekend Report, coming at you live right now on September 29th, 2012. Hope everybody's having a good time so far. Hope you're enjoying the show. So, yeah, before we talk about WWE Smackdown, which is definitely my favorite part of doing the weekend report editions, is we get to cover SmackDown. I love that. I just love being able to cover SmackDown. I know somebody had asked me the other day, you guys don't do SmackDown reports anymore on the website on Fridays. What happened? And what happened is we get so burned out when we are covering Raw, we cover Impact, that we kind of need a little chill day. So we all go to the daggone bar on Friday nights, and we're just chilling. We go to a little sports bar. We shoot some pool. We have some drinks, recharge our batteries for a little bit. And, yeah, I know, we actually have the nerve to do a live show after having a good night out drinking, I know. But, hey, that's why it comes on at 2 in the afternoon. Who knows? But, yeah, that's the answer to your question right there. We work really hard, and, Fridays we just kind of have that be our day to just kick back. And, that's why if you notice, it's actually kind of rare we'll actually talk about SmackDown on a Friday night. It's unless something monumental is going to happen, that'll probably maybe be the only way we'll actually do a SmackDown report for the website. But we figure since we're going to be talking about it on the show, what's the use of writing it up? So hey, appreciate you asking about that. It's nice to know that we do have people that read the content that we put up on the website, as we do put a lot of man hours into it. So before we talk about that, I got this really cool contest I want to tell you guys about, and it's a really awesome contest here. And it was something that me, co-producer Tammy, something that we all were just brainstorming a couple of weeks back. We're like, okay, what would be a really cool prize to give away since we have our 100th episode coming up next month, which is going to happen October 23rd. I said, well, what new video games is about to come out? And I was like, well, ain't WWE 13 getting ready to drop? I'm like, oh, yeah, like the week after. So I was like, okay, well, that's a really cool idea then. Well, let's go on ahead and let's actually offer a free copy of WWE 13, and whoever wins, they can just get it for their respective platform. PS3, don't matter. Xbox 360, don't matter. Nintendo Wii, don't matter. Oh, you're pushing a PSP? What, really? Okay, well, we'll show you some love. We'll hook it up, we'll hook you up with a copy for it, for that platform too. So the way we did this contest is basically we have a little donate tab. It's at our website, InfinityOneProductions.com. You click on that, you follow the prompts, you'll be able to donate that way. You can also donate by going to blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. Scroll down to the bottom. You'll see a gray tab that'll say extras. You click on it. You see the donate tab. Click on it. Follow the instructions. Now, $1 gets you into the contest. That's it. $1. Not no $1.12 after taxes. Not just one lousy $1 gets you into the contest. Okay, and on the 100th episode of the RCWR show, we are going to randomly select one winner, and they will win a limited edition copy of WWE 13. Now, when I say limited edition copy, this is going to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin limited edition copy that is only available for pre-order right now. So if you have a PS3, we are definitely going to make sure that we do our best to see to it that you get that PS3 edition that'll include a bonus Stone Cold Steve Austin DVD. Now, if we're not able to secure that, you'll still get a limited edition Stone Cold copy for the PS3. But I know that's probably going to become a little bit more trickier to grab, is because it has all those, probably, I think it's like about maybe 3-4 matches, I think that's on there. So still a pretty good collector's item. Now, we were thinking about this since the last time we were on the air, and we couldn't help but notice the lack of people that have actually donated. And we're a little bit surprised at that, because we're saying to ourselves, wait a minute, this is a really good cause that we're doing here. Why is there reservations? What's going on? And we've been paying attention to how everybody's been accessing the shows. We know how long people are listening to the episodes. So we know that our numbers have been just a juggernaut since we've been on the air, especially within recent months. This month alone, we've done our very best yet in our listens and our downloads. So we're like, okay, what's going on here? So the only other thing I could think of is probably why there might be a little bit of hesitation is there's probably those of you that are out there saying, okay, well, this contest sounds good, but how would I know if I really entered? How will you guys know that I donated? Okay, well, here's what you do. Here's the answer to all those questions. If you have Facebook, you have Twitter, then guess what? You hit us up on Infinity One Prod and you let us know, hey, my name is so-and-so. I actually donated $1. Can you please make sure you bookmark me? I want to make sure I get in on this contest. What's that you say? You don't have Facebook? You don't have Twitter? My God, man, how come you do not have that? Well, if you don't have that, no problem. You go to our website at infinityoneproductions.com. You click on the Contact Us tab. You can actually send us an email. So you can basically say, hey, my name is John Buddha Fuko. I don't know. Make up some stupid name. You can say, hey, I just donated. Here's my name. If you can look out for me, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. That's how we will know. Okay, so if you have a little bit of reservation as far as how are we going to know if you donated, now you know. So it will be up to you to decide which tool you want to access to let us know that you've entered the contest. Now, here's where it gets really awesome. We're only going to pick one lucky winner, but the money that will be generated from the donate, we're not keeping. It is going to go to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. We're actually going to take the amount. We're going to double it. And when I say double it, we're going to go into our own pockets, and we are going to double it. So hypothetically speaking, if we're able to pull together $50 in donations, then we're going to double it. We're going to give Susan G. Komen $100. Okay? If it's $150 that we're able to get in grand total, then we're going to double it. It's going to be $300. So it's really a cool way to give back to the community. So I can't stress it enough. You know, jump out there, donate. Good luck to you. If you don't win, at least know that the money is going to be going to a worthy cause. And what's even more awesome about this, that WWE 13 game that is going to be up for grabs, that's not going to be purchased from the donation money. The WWE 13 game is going to be purchased by yours truly, co-producer Tammy, and Zed. So donate. And you know what? If it's a situation where you don't have the money or maybe you just don't feel comfortable donating through us, then you know what? Go to the Susan G. Komen Foundation's website and donate. And you know what? Prove to us that, hey, at least you did make a donation to them. And you know what? We'll actually take you and put you into the contest that way as well if you don't feel like donating directly to us. But at least donate $1 to the Susan G. Komen Foundation and try to get yourself into this contest, because it's not every day that we have a really cool video game up for grabs, and it's probably going to be a long time before we have a little contest like this again. So it's open now until October 23rd. Best wishes to you. All right, so let's talk about what all has been happening on SmackDown from this past Friday night, as we had saw a pretty solid episode. I was so pleased at the downgrading, the downplay of Daniel Bryan and Kane, as it was just much too much for me last week. But what was really cool about this was it was pretty much all about the tag team division for the most part on SmackDown this past Friday night. We'll cover more on that in just a little bit. Let's talk about what had happened with the latest development in the World Heavyweight Championship picture, as a new number one contender was to be determined to face Sheamus at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Now, this match would pin Big Show against Randy Orton. That's right. And you're saying to yourself, wait a minute here. Where the hell did Big Show come from? Well, Big Show, he would claim that he wants to get another shot at the World Heavyweight Championship because he still has that bitter taste in his mouth from when he had lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Daniel Bryan in just 45 seconds. But then he would also point out his frustration in seeing the same man that beat him go on to lose that belt to Sheamus in just 18 seconds. And he would also talk about how he was basically a laughing joke once again at the WrestleMania where he got beat by Cody Rhodes. And he's just saying to himself, you know, that pretty much had woke me up big time. That pretty much had lit a fire under me, and all of a sudden his attention is on the World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm kind of saying to myself, you were just on the WWE Championship, right? Now all of a sudden your attention just immediately goes to the World Heavyweight Championship. Not really buying this. It's not really believable, but okay, fine, I'll bite into it. And so we see that Big Show, Randy Orton, they're going to be getting it on. What was really cool was seeing Alberto Del Rio inject himself into this whole mix, still crying about Booker T's decision to bring back the bro kick, and he's still reeling over his defeat at Night of Champions. Wham, wham, wham. But what was really funny was towards this main event match, it reminded me of SmackDown 2, Know Your Role. And for you guys that remember that game vividly, before I even say what I'm getting ready to say, you know exactly what the hell I'm getting ready to say, okay? It reminds me of that one scene in the backstage area. Remember how you defend the championship for such a long period of time, and then afterwards, like you're in a backstage segment and you're pretty much on your way out to defend the title or whatever, and somebody just comes out of nowhere, they attack you, they strip you of the belt, and then the next thing you know, when you go in to try to actually play that match, you're not allowed to play that match. It just says you've been stripped of the title and that basically there's a new champion and you have to fight your way back to winning the belt again. You're like, oh, this is bullshit. Well, it kind of reminded me of that because we just see Randy Orton. He's got that nice, calm, collected walk going on. He's got this walk and swagger kind of like, I'm Randy Orton. And then we see, you know, Randy Orton in action next. And you're like, okay, commercial, time to go take a leak. Well, no. We see Del Rio just come out of nowhere, and he just starts beating the crap out of Randy Orton. And we just see that little next logo in the lower left-hand corner just get yanked back, and we just stay right there as Del Rio is attacking Orton. And so you're like, oh, man, this is awesome. Of course, now we go to that main event. We see Big Show. He's waiting for Randy Orton, trying to figure out what's going on here. Randy Orton, he doesn't come out. Instead, we see Alberto Del Rio, who's getting ready to put himself into this match against Big Show. When out of nowhere, Randy Orton pops up. He attacks Del Rio, lays him out, and from there he goes into the match with Big Show. I couldn't wait for this match to end. I was just giving Randy Orton his props. He was really trying to do a good job selling this match, but I couldn't wait for it to end. And let me tell you the reason why I couldn't wait for this match to end. Did it have to do with Big Show? Yes, I can't stand watching Big Show wrestle. But the other thing was, I already knew who was going to win this, and this is a huge era on WWE's part. So for those of you that might have not kind of caught it there, or you might not know what I'm talking about, let's just wrap this up real quickly here. Big Show, he does beat Randy Orton. Now, he had to do 2 choke slams to do it, and post-match, he would do a WMD and let Sheamus know he'll be seeing him at Hell in a Cell. But see, I'm looking into my crystal ball here, and I already know Big Show is not going to be able to win the World Heavyweight Championship. You know how I know that? It's thanks to WWE live events. Now, WWE, they have an event that's going to be coming up in Germany on November 2nd, where, get this, the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus will be defending the title against Big Show. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. There's going to be another WWE live event that's going to be happening in Switzerland just a week from that. It's either a week after or 2 weeks later, where Sheamus will be defending his World Heavyweight Championship again against the Big Show. So I'm seeing this, and I'm saying to myself, WWE, you guys kind of messed up here. What the hell's going on? I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I can't help but stress to you guys that WWE, they just dropped the ball right here, because if you ever wanted to give me the impression that Big Show is possibly going to walk away with the title, then you definitely want to downplay the WWE live events. Now, some would probably argue, but wait a minute, the subject, the card, it's to change, right? Well, yeah, that's true, but come on, it's very rare that a card is going to change unless the wrestlers are sick or what have you. Talk about really jumping out there and predicting what's going to happen for the future. So I'm looking at this, and I'm already looking past Big Show, because I want to know who Sheamus is going to take on next. Am I happy that we're past Del Rio? Yes. I'm very happy that we are past him, but I will be even more happier when we're able to go past the Big Show. Other action that we had saw on SmackDown from this past Friday night, we had got to see, I believe it was, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I know Kane and Daniel Bryan had something to do with that, as we had saw Antonio Cesaro defend his United States Championship against Santino Marella. Definitely was a very solid match right here. We saw Cesaro was able to retain the championship. We had saw probably one of the best Diva matches, I want to say almost this calendar year, in Beth Phoenix, as she had defeated Natalya. And yes, I did say probably one of the best Diva matches this year. You can include that bullcrap that we had saw at this past year's WrestleMania with Maria Menounos, or however she pronounces her name. I was really loving this match right here. It was very solid. It was on point. You really couldn't be disturbed. You really couldn't walk away from this and say, oh, this match sucks. It was brutally an awesome, great match. It's how every single Divas match should be every single freaking week. And I was just really loving this. It was definitely emotional. Post-match, we saw Eve come out, and she would tell Beth Phoenix that she had made a irrational decision, or what she did on Raw, but that until the matter was resolved or what all had happened with Caitlyn, she had said that Beth Phoenix was going to be indefinitely suspended until further notice. So you're kind of looking at this and you're saying to yourself, oh, man, what the hell is going on here? Well, later on, we would see Beth Phoenix. She would actually go into the locker room, or correction, the SmackDown general manager office of Booker T, as he's talking with Teddy Long and saying, hey, did you just see what happened? Eve, she just indefinitely suspended me. She can't do that. Booker T, he wasn't even aware of what had happened. And so he's saying to her, no, this isn't going to stand. We see Eve, she pops up, and she's basically under the impression that she has the right to act on behalf of Booker T. Booker T, he's like, hell no, you don't know. And so we see that Beth Phoenix has been fully reinstated, but look at how Eve played this. She would say that Teddy Long had gave her the advice to go ahead and suspend Beth Phoenix, that she had it on good authority from Teddy Long that Booker would be okay with this, and that she feels that Teddy Long is jealous of Booker T as general manager, and he's trying to play the two of them to basically wiggle his way back into getting the general manager spot. And so we see Booker T, he turned his attention to Teddy Long, and he's kind of got this look on his face like, Teddy, say it isn't so, bro. And Teddy, he's like, you're not really buying this, are you, Booker? Come on now. And Booker is actually convinced that maybe Eve is saying the truth right here, and he actually tells Teddy he has to think about this. So we're looking at this, and we're saying to ourselves, man, but then I'm looking at Booker T, and I'm saying to myself, Booker, how stupid can you be, bro? You do realize that you recruited somebody that was from John Laurinaitis' cabinet, right? Come on now. You don't know that she's manipulative and all this other stuff? You don't remember what she was doing there with the Kane, John Cena, Zack Ryder angle? It's just completely just over your head like that. Then again, maybe Booker might be doing something with Eve. You never know, folks. You never know. Other action we saw on SmackDown, we saw Wade Barrett defeat Zack Ryder. We also saw a pretty awesome segment with The Miz, as he had brought Miz TV over to the SmackDown brand. His first guest was Sheamus. Definitely was a very solid contest right here, where we saw Sheamus just really not giving Miz an opportunity to speak. He was just blazing him up, bad-mouthing his set, bad-mouthing his show, talking about how he needs this show right now because he basically sucks as a wrestler. I mean, he was just breaking up some really valid points right here. I definitely was loving this. Was I the only one that noticed when they were hyping up Miz TV? Was I the only one that noticed how they were using footage from the year of WrestleMania where, what was it, WrestleMania 28, I believe it was? No, 27, where Miz was defending it against John Cena there. Was I the only one that noticed the footage that they had used where Miz, you see his back and he's looking at all these different TV monitors? I love how they recycled that and turned it into the whole Miz TV show. I thought that was kind of a nice touch right there. But definitely was a nice exchange of words between these guys. We saw Dolph Ziggler actually come out, and he had some very, very hot words to say to the World Heavyweight Champion, letting him know that, hey, you best be prepared, because Hell in a Cell, if you are going to be severely beaten, which you are, because it's going to be a draining match that you're going to have, if you even are able to somehow walk away with a title retained, I'm definitely going to be coming down, and I'm going to be cashing in this briefcase. I will become the new World Heavyweight Champion. So has Dolph Ziggler finally made it official that no matter what, he's going to be cashing in this title at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? Well, he definitely spoke bold words this past Friday night. It leaves you to wonder if Dolph Ziggler's time might just be around the corner. It was definitely a very solid moment right here, as we actually saw Miz, Dolph Ziggler. They tried to tag team on Sheamus, but strong Irishman, strong champion that he is, he was able to send both guys flying out of the ring. Of course, one of the other key highlights we saw on SmackDown was the beginning of an 18 tag team tournament. As for this week, we saw the Usos in action against the Rhodes Scholars, and Rhodes Scholars were able to pick up the victory right there. Of course, we saw another great match as Ryback was able to defeat Tenzai. I was amazed that Ryback was able to pick up this 300-plus guy, and he was able to do that, walking around in a circle move that he always does before he's able to do that back suplex drop, or back body drop as I like to call it there. Definitely was a very solid move right there. Overall, definitely another solid week of SmackDown. I loved how they recycled footage from Daniel Bryan, Kane's restaurant segment, and again, paying homage to when Harry met Sally. If you still haven't checked out that movie, great Billy Crystal movie. Definitely was probably one of his best. Meg Ryan was in there. It was an awesome movie. Go check it out when you get a chance. You definitely will appreciate it. That's pretty much it. It was definitely a very solid episode of SmackDown. You know, we got to switch gears up now, and we got to go into my favorite part of the show, which is covering what all has been happening in entertainment, music, and all that. Very awesome right here. Now, look, Metallica, they have commemorated their 26th anniversary of the loss of their good friend, their brother, original bassist, Cliff Burton. And they're paying homage to this guy right now by posting a classic concert in its entirety that's free for download right now. That's right. The show is from the band's Ride the Lightning tour, and it took place on November 2nd, 1984 at the Le Riff and Toll House, France. Now, the band would also follow this up by posting a photo of Cliff on their official Facebook with a message saying, "We miss you," before adding, "While you're remembering Cliff on the 26th anniversary of his passing, give a listen to this free download from the Ride the Lightning tour. Download the Ride the Lightning concert here." So if you go to Metallica's website right now, it's free to register, and then afterwards you'll be able to download the concert. You don't have to worry about no credit cards. It's not going to even be asking for that. You just go over there. If you haven't signed up already, sign up. It takes less than 2 minutes to complete. After that, you're good to go. Download away and enjoy. I was listening to the concert. Really badass. You're going to love it, especially if you're a Metallica fan. You'll definitely appreciate it. Now, of course, I definitely want to share with you guys some Soundgarden news. And, man, Soundgarden, they have definitely done a phenomenal job right here as they released their first single from their upcoming album, King Animal. Now, keep in mind that this is the band's first follow-up album since 1996, Down on the Upside. And I must say, I was listening to this first track, and I definitely was feeling it. It's on point, so it gives me great honor to play this new track from Soundgarden, Been Away Too Long. That's the name of the track. And this is how it's going to go. You guys that's listening to this live and on the downloads, you're going to be able to listen to this track right now. Now, if you're checking this out on YouTube, due to copyright restraints, we're not going to be able to play it for you guys. So in that case, best advice I can give you is to go to Soundgarden's official YouTube channel, and you'll be able to listen to the track that way. But for you guys that are listening to this episode live and on the downloads, get ready. You're going to be able to hear this track right now. We're going to play it, and then we'll come right back, and we'll cover more on what all has been happening in music, okay? So here it is, the RCWR Show Weekend Report premiere for us. Soundgarden, Been Away Too Long. Enjoy, folks. Oh, yeah. Soundgarden, Been Away from Too Long, from their upcoming King Animal album that is going to be dropping in November. You definitely want to check that out. It's definitely going to be a very solid album. I believe the album is going to be coming out on November 13th. Don't quote me on that because I'm not good these days remembering certain dates. I want to say, I believe it's November 13th. I think I'm actually right here. So you definitely want to check that out. It's definitely going to be a very solid album. Of course, you can pre-order that album right now. There's a deluxe edition that's floating around. You're definitely going to appreciate that. Definitely very solid right there. Hope you all appreciate that. So let's talk about this new No Doubt album, Push and Shove, that had came out. Now, I teased my review of this on Tuesday night's RCWR show and Impact Showdown Radio. I had said, I took the liberty of checking out No Doubt's entire catalog because I never really was a No Doubt fan over the years. And I could recall how my pretend sister used to always say to me, "You got to get into No Doubt. They're good. They're good." So I had finally checked out their entire catalog, and I was like, okay, this is definitely pretty good shit right here. Okay, I'm in. So I could definitely say with a heartfelt sincerity that I was looking forward to hearing this new No Doubt album, Push and Shove. And keep in mind, this is the first new No Doubt studio album in like 11 years. So you're saying to yourself, okay, this should definitely be worth the wait, right? I'm sorry to say, folks, got to be brutally honest, this No Doubt album, it sucked. It sucked big time. I just can't stress that enough. And I'm not just going to leave it at it sucked and then we move on to something else. No. You know how we do it over here. We try to make sure we give a very honest review. And I got to admit, out of 12 tracks, there was only 4. There was only 4 tracks that I had liked, and the tracks go as follows. Track 3, One More Summer, I thought that was a very good track. Push and Shove, track 4, that definitely was a decent track. Track 5, Easy, I thought that out of the entire album, Easy was their best track. I did not have a problem with that. Easy, definitely, I could just picture how it is visually if they were to do a video for it. Definitely like that. Undone, I thought that was another good track. I thought that was pretty solid. But, you want to just talk about the standout tracks that you'll just keep coming back to again and again and again. Definitely Undone, Easy, One More Summer. Push and Shove, it's got a nice little reggae type of vibe to it, but I don't know, you get kind of irritated when you listen to it after the first few minutes. And unless you're really into the Jamaican music like that, especially with that whole fusion of rock, then you could definitely appreciate that track. But I could definitely see why it's a single, but on my iPod, I wouldn't be pushing it like that. I would actually push and shove it away. Notice how I play with the words there. I know, shut up. But anyway, yeah, I got to be honest, out of 12 tracks, I was only really pleased with 4, not really enough. I would have to give this album the honest review of, out of 10 stars, I got to give it a 5. I got to be honest, I got to give it a 5. It isn't quite what Rocksteady was. Now, for those of you that remember Rocksteady, that came out in 2001, and I just was under the impression that the momentum that they had from Rocksteady, it was going to continue onto this album, and it just kind of seemed like it was more of a techno dance type of album. I couldn't help but kind of say to myself, where's the bass? Where's the drums? Where's the guitar? What's going on here? What exactly am I listening to? And I just felt that with all this dance and techno stuff that was just dominating on this entire album, it really took away from Gwen Stefani's voice. She has a very beautiful, strong voice, and it's just unfortunate because everything that was flowing from that Rocksteady album, it's like everything was just abandoned. Whatever they learned on that album, it was like it was all just abandoned on Push and Shove. If you're a No Doubt longtime fan, like I said, and I can't stress this enough, don't buy the whole album. Just get those key tracks that I pointed out. Buy those in iTunes as singles. Don't buy the whole album. If you're a hardcore No Doubt fan and you remember how their entire catalog was, you may be a little bit discouraged when you listen to this album. You may kind of look at No Doubt as maybe being sellouts, depending on the type of fan that you are, but I definitely can't stress it enough. Don't buy the album. Honest review, some of y'all may not like that, and I actually have a few friends that are in the No Doubt, so it is what it is. Let's talk about Green Day's new album, Uno. Now, this album, I definitely was feeling. I love Green Day. I've been a very big fan of theirs for many, many years now. I definitely came away listening to this album, and I definitely was loving it. A lot of great tracks on this album that stood out in my mind. And, of course, it's very unfortunate right now that with the release of Uno, Green Day's frontman, Billy Joe Armstrong, he's having a little bit of personal problems. Now, we had reported it on our website, and it actually had just came days after we had got done doing the RCWR show last weekend. Turns out Billy Joe Armstrong, he had entered rehab for some type of substance abuse problems, and a lot of fans, they're like, oh, man, what's going on here? And if you guys recall, at that iHeart Download Music Festival, he had like a just, what was an infamous tirade on stage as he was just cursing and he was just destroying a guitar. He was mad at the fact that he got cut off after about a minute was left in their set, and he just went like nutty crazy. And, of course, before that, he had some type of a dehydration problem. So there's just been a lot of inconsistencies that's been adding up, which can now support this whole, well, he's entering rehab, so I guess he was having some scenarios happen at those other events. So he's currently getting help, and hopefully he can have a very speedy recovery. Definitely one of the most underrated frontman for rock, I feel. He put out some really great stuff. He's definitely an underrated writer, I feel. And for those of you wondering, Billy Joe is still going to be popping up on The Voice. Now, remember, we had reported a while back that he was actually going to be popping up on the show for a few episodes as he was going to be assisting one of the judges. So NBC, they're taking light of everything that's been happening, and they still have him scheduled to appear on the show, so definitely take that away. But let's talk about this new album, Uno, as definitely I love this album, and I got to let you guys know which tracks had stood out in my mind as I was checking this album out. I definitely loved Kill the DJ. I mean, just lyrically, that is exactly how I feel whenever I hear a damn techno song. I do want to kill the DJ, and I definitely was loving this. I definitely love Sweet 16. That stood out in my mind. Oh Love, the last track, I definitely love that one. Oh Love, very standout track. State of Night, that's another one I like. Let Yourself Go. It's definitely a very good throwback to Green Day of old. It kind of reminds me of their older material. So I definitely can't stress this enough. Out of 10 stars, I definitely would give this new Green Day album, I'll say an 8 out of 10. I was definitely pretty pleased with this album. No slow ballads, none of that other silly crap. No, you're not going to find no good riddance, no stuff like that. It's just pretty much like they're going back to their garage punk days. It was a nice throwback album. That's the vibes that I was mainly picking up from it. So you'll definitely appreciate that right there. Definitely grab that. Really good stuff. All right, so let's talk about what all we got going on here with this video game I want to review for you guys. And like I said, I came across this video game by accident. It's called Action Arcade Wrestling. That's the name of the game, and it's from a developer called Torque X. Now, I came across this game by accident because originally I was trying to look for the new Fire Pro Wrestling game that had came out in the Xbox 360 marketplace, and that game, I can't stress it enough, avoid it. They want too much money. You're basically dressing up your avatar in these ridiculous little silly clothes. The controls, they are very limited. They seem very stuck at some points. I would just dodge that. If you are a hardcore Fire Pro Wrestling fan, you will do the series justice, and you will not buy this game. I don't care if this game was for sale for 80 MS points. Dodge it, all right? You don't need to buy this. But Action Arcade Wrestling was a surprise throwback. It is a wrestling game that just combines everything that you can remember from how wrestling games used to be in the 90s going into the early 2000s. It's a really nice, welcome throwback. The controls, the customization, it's definitely on point. And here's the best part I like about this game. And you all probably do this as opposed to the donate thing, which is cool, but This is the cool part I like about this game. It only costs 80 MS points. That's $1 freaking dollar. That's it. This game is badass. Now, the developers, and I've been actually talking with them. They're actually in the process of making the second installment of this, and they've revamped the hell out of the graphics. I've seen a little bit of stuff. It's on point. I'm loving it, and it just looks like a completely different engine altogether. But until Part 2 comes out, you definitely want to check this out. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. This will keep you busy until WWE 13 comes out. And again, that's called Action Arcade Wrestling. It's in the marketplace right now for 80 MS points, just $1, folks. Have fun. Thank me later, okay? And that's an indie game, by the way. So just so you know, because I know some of you are probably looking in the arcade section and you're kind of like, where is it? Where is it? Well, the way I ended up finding it, I just put in keywords wrestling, and I was able to find it that way. So just in case you happen to go through the arcade category and you don't find it that way, just do a Bing search on your game console, type in wrestling, you'll be able to find it that way. Thank me later, and you're welcome, all right? Other than that, I'm trying to figure out what else had kind of jumped out at me in entertainment news this week. I know George Strait, country singer, he's getting ready to do a farewell tour, and this tour is going to take up at least 2 years of his time to do. What can you say? If you are into country music, then you definitely know that name. He's definitely up there with a Johnny Cash. He's definitely up there with a Garth Brooks, Brooks and Dunn. He has put out at least 60 number one hits over the years. 60 number one hits, okay? And, looks like he is riding off into the sunset. Definitely some very, I'm going to miss that guy. I have a few of his albums. He's definitely pretty on point. If those of you are not quite familiar with his body of work, I highly recommend you check out George Strait, 50 number ones. It's a greatest hits compilation. It's a 2-disc set. You'll definitely appreciate it. Just to give you an idea, I would do a YouTube search, and I would put in George Strait, The Chair. That's the name of the song, The Chair. Probably one of the best songs that he's done, I feel. He's also known for the song All My Exes Live in Texas. That's another favorite song of mine that I dig. Really, some pretty phenomenal stuff right there. And one other thing I got to let you guys know about before we get ready to go off the air here. We got the former members of White Snake that has formed this new band called Snake Charm, and I was just amazed at how these guys had sounded. I mean, damn, these guys are on freaking point right here, and if you guys haven't had a chance to check out some of the songs that they got floating around, as they recently signed a record contract, they're going to be putting out an album of all new material that's going to be due, I believe, spring of next year. It's definitely a on-point album. You definitely want to check that out. Phenomenal stuff right there. Also, we got to let you guys know about Jason Bonham, the son of Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham. This guy, he's gone out. He's done something that is just truly phenomenal. He's formed his own band, and he's calling it the Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin Experience, and he is just working with this awesome production team that has worked on doing musical movies for Pink Floyd, a few other bands, and they are really bringing the music of Zeppelin into a different type of light, as they have all these really cool visual screens, lighting. It's just something that's just really phenomenal, and just to get an idea of what you can expect from their concerts, as they're only going to be doing a handful of them on the West Coast side. Man, go check them out on YouTube. It's really freaking phenomenal. I love the guy that they got that is singing these Led Zeppelin songs, as they're going to be singing a total of 20 Led Zeppelin hits. And one of the songs that I had got to saw them sing was Black Dog from Led Zeppelin, and the guy's vocals is just on freaking point. I mean, doesn't remind me anything of a Robert Plant. If anything, it reminds me of the main lead singer guy from Whitesnake. It's definitely some phenomenal stuff. I highly recommend that you check that out. Freaking amazing. Other than that, you know what? I think we covered like everything that was supposed to be covered on today's show. I think Zed, co-producer Tammy, I think we did a damn good job today. Am I missing anything? Is there anything that I have forgot to mention by chance? No? All right, I do a show, and I finally didn't forget anything. It's about damn time. All right, yay. All right, so let's go on ahead. And mad shout-out to Don Tony, who had put out the Facebook link for you guys right now that happen to be in the chat room, and for the guests that's checking out the show right now. That's right, facebook.com/Action Arcade Wrestling. Truly an amazing game. If you had the unfortunate displeasure of checking out that badass Fire Pro Wrestling game, okay, redeem yourself. Check out this video game. It is really awesome. 80 MS points. You can't go wrong with that, okay? So we got about 10 minutes of showtime left. I guess we'll go ahead. We'll put the number out there, and then if that's pretty much it, we'll wrap it up. What's the number again? Yeah, thanks. 646-478-3525. 646-478-3525. You would think that by now I'd memorize the number. Lovely co-producer Tammy. Don from New York, you're on the line, bro.
Hey, Black Avenger, what's up?
Hey, bro, how you been?
How do you say Avenger in 5 different languages like Antonio Cesaro? Can you do that?
God, I'll get back to you on that one. That's good homework.
I mean, how good is this guy? I mean, he's actually restored credibility to that belt now. Mm-hmm. I mean, when that sock puppet freak held it, I mean, I attached zero credibility to it. So, and he's actually, I mean, I don't want to be cold-hearted and say he's lost the dead weight in Oksana, but he came out extra focused this week, really fired up, and I think we've all kind of been there in our life. With if we want to focus entirely on our career, so do you see how do you see that storyline playing? I think she's done with him.
No,
you think she comes
back
and links up with what's that sock puppet freak's name? I can't remember his name.
Morella
Antonio, yeah.
Antonio, some crappy name. I actually do see that happen. I'll actually even be willing to go out on a step further and say I wouldn't actually be too surprised if Oksana were to pop up, be in his corner, only to screw him out of a pay-per-view match.
I hope they don't give him any more title shots. Put him on Saturday mornings when they have that. What's that new kid show WWE has?
Saturday Morning Slam.
Yeah, put him on there with the puppet, entertain the kids. I don't want to see him on Raw or SmackDown anymore. SmackDown, it was really, really well produced this week. Like you said, that last match kind of dragged out with the show and the Orton. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was impressive, but it was kind of anticlimactic. But other than that, the show was really good. And
let me ask you, how do you like how WWE is no doubt handling the exit of Beth Phoenix here? Do you think they've been doing a good job making this current angle with the news that she's leaving the company? Do you think that the whole Eve thing that they got going on, where Eve's kind of looking at her and trying to figure out how to get her out of the company, you think it's a good move that they're doing there?
Well, I think Eve's being fair. She's the assistant general manager, and she wants what's best for everybody. And I think she's got best interest in mind. No, of course she. I love the storyline, Eve's personality, and I don't know. I guess they're being diplomatic with Beth because I guess that's CM Punk's girlfriend, and they really respect Beth. And Beth's a very accomplished athlete, and she'll probably kick somebody's ass over there at front office if they don't anyway. So, what do you think about Ryback Punk? Where do you think this is going to go? Are they going to? When are these two going to clash? Where and when?
Ooh, thanks for that call, Don. Ryback, CM Punk. Honestly, if I could have it my way, never is the answer. Never will we see Ryback and CM Punk go at it. I'm going to stand behind what I had said initially earlier today and what I've been saying earlier this week. I'm going to stand behind my original thoughts, which was Ryback is possibly on the back burner in case John Cena might not be able to have this match against Punk at Hell in a Cell. I know WWE, they're just keeping their fingers crossed. They're hoping that Cena can make it back in time for this match because really they are loving the idea of a CM Punk happening somewhere down the road. Now, I could see it down the road, so as long as Ryback proves that he's ready, that he deserves to have that spot. But I can't stress it enough. I don't want to see that happen until we see the likes of Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan. I want to see those guys. I want to see Cody Rhodes. I want to see Wade Barrett. I want to see all of them have their turn at becoming a respected World Heavyweight or WWE champion. I want to see those guys get their turn first before Ryback. Now, of course, that could change. Ryback could bypass a couple of people. In the event that happens, well, so be it. But if I could have it my way, honestly, if Ryback continues to go at the rate that he's been going right now, he could very well, in time, be ready. Maybe summer next year, he could be ready. As long as he keeps his nose clean and stays out of trouble, doesn't violate the wellness policy. I mean, he's got a nice physique. I can't help but kind of wonder, but I don't want to say anything, you know. But you guys know what I'm really saying here. Just keep his nose clean, stay out of trouble, and yeah, I could actually see something like that happening. I mean, has he gotten better in the ring? A little bit, but he's still not quite ready. But still, I just loved how they did Raw this past Monday night. I mean, it got everybody talking. Everybody wanted to know what the heck was going to be happening with Ryback. Could we possibly see Ryback, CM Punk? I'm definitely so. But you know what? Everybody is so infatuated with that angle. Let me say this and end it on a cliffhanger. Y'all are thinking about CM Punk and Ryback. Y'all should be thinking about Ryback and Brock Lesnar. Now that's a match. Thanks for that. Call Don, thanks to an active chat room where we actually had Don doing double duty there. He was in the chat room there. Dave was in the chat room as well. Thanks to all you guys for chiming in your thoughts on there. Thanks to all of you for checking out today's episode. It was definitely a jam-packed episode. Got a lot of ground covered. Hopefully you had a good time listening to today's show, as we were just all over the place today. That's how we do it over here. We're going to be on somewhat of a 3-day break, but we'll be back with a new episode of the RCWR show, Tuesday Night Wrestling Report Edition, coming at you live on blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show and at our sister website at infinityoneproductions.com. You'll be able to catch that new episode this Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll cover the fallout from WWE Raw, also get you guys caught up on the very latest in wrestling-related news. It's definitely going to be a jam-packed episode. Definitely check that out. And before I leave, I recently came in contact with a certain wrestler that left TNA Wrestling, and I'm trying very hard to have them come onto the show. They are interested. Hopefully I'll be communicating with them more over the weekend. If I can have this lock, it's very well likely that they too will be popping up on that 100th episode. I won't say any more until I know I can get this person, but I just thought I'd tease you guys with that. That's going to do it for now. Make sure you subscribe to us in the iTunes, Zune Marketplaces, keywords, the RCWR show. Also, check us out on the downloads. Make sure you do that. Hit us up on Stitcher. That's going to do it. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and as always, until we hear from you guys next time around, y'all be safe and be kind to one another, folks. We will see you this Tuesday night. Everybody, take care. Have a great weekend.